Thank you for joining us on the Southwest Florida Business Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and today I'm joined by Anthony Tumbarello from CTP. So Anthony has a beautiful gym in Bonita Springs. He works with professional athletes, training people from like the Philadelphia Eagles and things like that. Go check out his social media and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really an incredible place. He's built something beautiful. And part of what we talk about is the journey of how he got there. And we really start this off with, I don't even want to call them failures because they are just stops along the way, but things that he didn't quite get right at the beginning, how he went back, he reset, and how he built this business in its current form to where it is now. And I think a lot of people need to pay attention to his mindset through all this because it's something that I'm actually working on is adopting a similar mindset to what he's got in terms of building a business the way that I want to. So keep an eye out for that. I really enjoyed talking with Anthony, getting to hear this story from start to finish. And if you're in Bonita or you're in Naples or Fort Myers, go check out his facility. It is a beautiful gym. I can't stress that enough, but you walk in and it's not like any other place that I've been to. So please enjoy this episode with Anthony from CTP. This episode is brought to you by Southwest Florida Podcast. If you're a business in Southwest Florida and you want to use a podcast to grow your business, scan the QR code on your screen or visit the link in the show notes at www.swflpodcast.com. Enjoy the show. Well, you want to roll into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Anthony, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad that we got connected. We got connected through Brennan,
Yep.
and I got to come check out CTP.
Yeah.
Like live in person. It is you have a badass place, man. It's
I appreciate
very
it.
cool.
Yeah.
So let's just dig into it. What is it? And then I want to talk to you about the backstory and then all the things you guys are doing now and moving forward in the future. So.
Yeah, of course. So CTP, what we are is we're a personal training studio first. We're a professional athlete gym as well. Those two go hand in hand with really what we do. We have a physical therapist on staff now. We have 4 trainers plus myself. You know, if you're looking to get in shape and do training the right way in Southwest Florida, CTP, that's where everyone's going right now. So it's been a blessing to have.
Nice.
Yeah.
And all right, so let's dig into how this all got started. So yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, I started at LA Fitness in 2011. Worked there for 4 years. It's kind of how I grew as a personal trainer first. Then I decided I wanted to train athletes. I was an athlete myself, so I was always into especially NFL. Training NFL guys was always something that I wanted to do, getting into training. So I just figured out a way to do it. I found mentors. I kind of went that route. Found mentors, worked in some gyms, moved to Tampa just to do that. And then when I came back, personal training again, getting into sports performance a little bit more. I kind of knew what I was doing at that point, and then the thing just took off. So, you know, the pandemic happened, 2020 came. You know, I was forced to, I had a garage gym. I was training by everybody out of there. I could figure out, like, hey, I could do this on my own, because before, you know, I tried opening a gym before, it failed. And so we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
That kind of story. But then, you know, now from the garage, I was like, all right, I could do this. Signed the lease May 5th, 2020, and we've been rolling ever since.
Yeah, and you got your 2-year anniversary I just saw, so congrats, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. A lot of people said I couldn't take it to 2 years, so I'm still here.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really? So
there's a whole lot on that story.
All right, well, so what was going on there? Why?
There's just you know, through the whole process, there's been people that have always kind of doubted what I could do.
Sure.
You know, I made a move, I failed. Tried opening a gym, I failed. So there was always that sort of doubt of, oh, you know, this can't work or this, that, and the other. And then, you know, I just knew I would find a way. I just had to figure out my way of how I was going to get it done. And then once I was able to figure out and learn from my failures, I was able to make this thing. And I'm still here and we're growing and, you know, it's cool.
Well, so, all right. So what kind of stuff did you learn from those failures? Because I'm finding that as I go through this whole process of building this, like, I'm making tons of mistakes.
Of course,
all the
yeah,
time.
and you're going to make a ton of mistakes. I made a ton of mistakes.
So all right. So what did you do that you felt like, all right, I made these mistakes, and then how did you actually like learn from that and incorporate that into the growth that you're seeing now?
Most of that failure came from I tried opening a gym called the Grind Fitness.
Okay.
I thought I knew what business was. I was coming from LA Fitness. I saw that type of model. I saw that type of training. I was going to go into like boot camp style training and stuff like that, personal training, what I was doing. I made my first business plan. I learned how to make a business plan. I learned how to do all this stuff. I had this great plan together. I had this great gym. Needed the funding. So, I went out, got funding from one person, didn't get it from the other, and it kind of just died down from there. I just didn't get the funding for it, and I literally put in 6 months of work of trying to get this thing off the ground and kind of told my clients already what it was and what we were doing, and then next thing you know, it didn't work out. I was starting to see like at the end of the tunnel, like this isn't going to work.
Dude, yeah.
So I learned though too, like, okay, if I'm going to open up a gym, I need to do my own funding. So CTP is fully funded by me. Like I didn't go out and get any investors or anything like that. I didn't put myself in debt. I kind of figured, okay, this is how much I need from learning and doing that business plan. Like, okay, that business plan, this is what I thought I needed. This is how much I needed. This is how much I needed to raise. I was like, okay, well now I need to work my butt off to get this amount here, so now I can open up my own.
And so that first one, it was more of like maybe a bigger scale kind of a grand thing. Maybe it was closer to what you have now.
It was closer to what I have now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was closer to what I had now.
But you didn't really have the path to get there.
No, and I didn't know the path to get there. I was young. Trying to figure it all out. I put in the work, figuring it all out, but it's my first time doing it. Obviously, there were mistakes I made. I should have, started putting more away myself and different things like that. And then, we got all these loans, from clients that would say they would give us this loan.
Sure.
And then I was just missing 50% of it. So I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out. So then that's how I learned from that one.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's crazy what you think that business is. When I started this, I was like, I know exactly how this is going to go. I'm going to make these podcasts for businesses and people are going to love it. And then you go tell people and they're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Does it cost way more than we thought? Or you think that you need these like essential 10 things, and really at the end of the day, you just needed a garage and some basic equipment to get started.
And so I never thought of that process of starting in a garage or starting super small and kind of just building to have a proof of concept. So I kind of just went in from an LA Fitness. I have this dream, I have this vision, and it didn't work out because I didn't get the funding. I didn't put enough into it. I was trying to go a little bit bigger than what maybe I was at the time should have been doing. But I like to think big, so I was going for it. And I mean, if that mistake though doesn't happen and that actually becomes a reality, my gym and what I do now would be totally different. So everything works out, I feel, for a reason.
Well, 100%. And plus, one of the cool things too, and I'm seeing it, I see it in your videos, and after talking with Brennan and kind of like how you run things, I think it reflects in the way you have a hands-on approach, that you went back to that kind of square one of, I'm working out of the gym. Like, this is me. I'm doing all this myself. Like, because part of that, you do get a real solid understanding of your business from like a fundamental level. There's no, like, if you were to make it successful before, you could just be like running on a bunch of guesswork. Like,
for sure,
well, I think this works, but now
I'm still doing that now.
Well, for sure.
I'm still learning everything.
Always. But like, do you feel like it gave you a better sense of the core business and like what it actually takes to run it and manage it? Yeah.
And so from that mistake, then I went to another sports performance facility. I kind of brought my clients there and just learned for 2 years. And I learned how to run a small business there because I was at LA Fitness. I didn't even know what the private sector was like.
Okay.
And I tried opening up a gym without ever even being in the private sector. So, again, I'm glad it failed because then it brought me to this point where then I'm training and then I'm starting to learn, okay, this is how programming works. This is how things work on a very small scale. And then I start seeing, okay, well, this is how the approach of professional athletes is taken and different things like that. And then getting to Tampa when I went to ASPI, which was a huge facility in Tampa, literally just to run combine stuff. So I ran combine stuff, ran NFL, ran MLB, assisted in all that stuff, and just got to be a part of that and then watch how that business was run. Being there taught me a lot of like, okay, how to run a business effectively and how not to run a business effectively. And I kind of took the good and the bad from that stuff and kind of mixed it together. When I came back down here, then I started, okay, now my programming's on point. Now my business skills, I think, are on point. I learned marketing up there. I took a marketing internship, which Tampa was a huge, quote unquote, failure, but a huge success for me in the back end of it. And then, the pandemic happens. Everyone's forced to make a decision. I kind of already knew I was going in that direction, but once that happened and I'm in a garage gym, one of my clients blessed me with equipment. It just so happened that all these things happened, so I was able to train professional athletes and everything in a garage gym. All that set up to, okay, now I can sign the lease. Okay, now I can effectively run this business. I financially was able to get it on point. Structurally, I was able to get it on point. I was able to grow a business and actually have a building now and know how to run it effectively.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get your first customers?
So I came back from Tampa in 2018, November 2018. I was at a sports performance facility. Things didn't work out there. I stopped training altogether. I was there from January to August, just working my tail off. Things didn't work out or things weren't done the right way. So from there, I just learned a marketing internship. I took one. One of the clients that I had ran a VR company. He's like, hey, I want you to run the marketing for it. I'm listening to Grant Cardone, Billie Jean, all these guys. And I'm kind of figuring out, okay, this is how they market. This is what they do. This is how they do it. This is how they market to their customers and who they're trying to talk to. And so when I came back down, I was just a man on a mission. I built my own website. I started, using the phone every single day. Instagram was free at the time. I was broke. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to use Instagram because I don't have a client yet. It's a free platform. I'm just going to be as consistent on it as possible. I just keep hammering away at Instagram, and next thing you know, one client to the next, to the next, to the next. And these were people that didn't even know me. And it just started steamrolling. And once I was able to show okay, this guy knows what he's doing in the gym. This guy knows what he's doing, with fitness-wise. He's getting results. He's growing the business. And then on top of that, I start training professional athletes. That's when it started building. And then I was able to gain clients from there.
So you were able to actually go in, get local clients, do an actual personal training with them. And then once you built that up, was that kind of before and then you got professional clients, or was it almost in tandem?
It was almost in tandem because the facility I was at had guys coming down already, and I was just assisting there. So I was assisting. I learned the first combine. It was 2019. I learned the first combine. We had our first combine group. I kind of already learned, that in Tampa. So I was just assisting now, and I was more of an assistant of okay, I know what I'm doing. I know how to coach these guys. I'm just going to help and do that. And then, so that was from January. And then in the summer of 2019, the director went on vacation. And next thing I know, I got 9 NFL guys that are down here, and I have them here for a month. So then I just start training them. It kind of all came together. I knew what I was doing. I ran all the programs. I ran all the stuff. And then, the guys actually had great years. They went into camp healthy. We got in great work. We were able to build relationships. And then from there, it just kind of went hand in hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's very cool timing too, to be able to build up multiple aspects of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because I was down here just trying to pay my bills.
Yeah.
So it was the athletes weren't the first focus. My first focus was, okay, how do I pay my bills? How do I put this money aside that I know at some point I want to open a gym? How do I do all this? How do I set this plan together? And I think really listening to guys like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee and all that stuff, I kind of took the good from all that stuff. Okay. I took financial courses. I had clients that were helping me build my credit back up. It was a lot of things that were going on in that time. And so my focus was just, okay, how do I gain 2 new clients a month? How do I gain 2 new clients a month? 2 new clients. And then it just steamrolled to the point where I was fueling the facility with clients. That facility's never done that well. So we were rolling. We were rolling at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Man. And so, all right. So how did you make the transition? At what point did you know you had to move from the single garage into
the single
the
garage
space?
was always temporary.
Okay.
I think it escalated. The pandemic escalated what I was already planning on doing. I was thinking I was probably a year out, 2 years out of even starting and going that process. But the pandemic just kind of forced it, honestly.
Yeah.
The gym that we were at closed in March. We still had all our professional athletes here. Those guys got to get trained. Our clients still have to get trained. Thankfully, we lived in Florida. We really weren't, you know what I mean? I was still able to go to parks and run gyms, and I was in the St. Croix apartments, and I had it was a 250 square foot garage, like in the summer. So it just kind of forced it, and I knew that was always temporary. So once I knew, like, after the first 2 months, I was in March, then I'm in April, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this on my own, and the revenue that I'm creating, and I'm not losing a client. Like, I'm gaining clients as I'm in the garage now because I'm the only guy that's training people still. So I'm like, okay, I'm steamrolling, and I'm actually getting new clients. I'm like, let's just do this. So it got down. One of my clients was a commercial real estate guy. He found a place. We looked at it. I was like, this is it, and that's the building you were at.
Dude, it's a beautiful spot.
I signed it May 5th and literally started from there. And then we just kept rolling.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad to hear it, man, because it's a really professional looking space. Like,
I appreciate
it,
man.
The floor looks awesome when you come in. It's got the epoxy and everything. Yeah. You got nice equipment. It feels like I'm in a professional athlete training center. So
that's the goal. Especially like the first one. This is kind of like I wouldn't want to say my guinea pig, but more of like I want to see what I like, what I don't like. This is going to be the gym before the gyms because I have a step plan of what I want this thing to do. I've kind of, like everything else, I write everything out and I kind of have a vision for everything. But this is more for me to, how do we do this before we expand? What do I like? What do I don't like? What do I need? And so this is kind of like, again, learning, on the fly of how to run a business.
Well, and it comes back to what you said before, like proof of concept, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
of course.
When you go back to square one and you're running things out of like a small space, you can still do everything you're doing now. It's just on a smaller scale.
Yep.
And you can get people in, and that's part of what I actually got wrong about business at the beginning was kind of that proof of concept piece. Is like I assumed that I knew what people found valuable. And I was totally wrong. And it wasn't until I shifted it drastically that I finally found it. But no, that's actually a good point. So, all right. So how do you take this proof of concept kind of vision? Like, what are you doing now with the business? Because I want to ask you and dig into what you're doing now across the personal training, the physical therapy, and then kind of get into where the business is going from there. Like, what's next after that, too?
Yeah. So kind of just our proof of concept when we started, I just started with personal training, NFL training. Those were the two things I was going to focus on. Those were the two things that I had going for me at the time. That was what I was going to do. I also had a trainer who I knew. He came with me. He came on board since we opened day one. And so then my goal was, okay, how do we take the marketing that we've been doing? How do we plug it into what we're doing now so we can fuel him up with clients? Because he came over with 1 or 2 clients. I had my clientele that I had, but I needed to make sure, okay, how do we get him right and how do we get him rolling? So I just kind of built a proof of concept of just, all right, how are we going to approach our training? How are we going to be different? So when you walk into our facility, no matter what, with every client that we do, we're going to do a physical assessment. At the time, I didn't have the physical therapy office, so the first year was us doing a physical assessment that we came up with that kind of just gave us an understanding of, okay, where are these people at in their fitness journey? Where do they want to go? How are we going to get them there? Most people have injuries and things like that come into play. So, any insufficiencies that they have, okay, how do we fix those? How do we at least make them better? We're not physical therapists, we're trainers, but how can we get a little bit more mobility? How can we train a little bit more, flexibility and different things like that? So we kind of just, the focus was always on the work of training in the beginning of just like, okay, how do we separate ourselves? How do we continue to do great work? And we took that athlete approach that when the athlete goes to any facility that they go to or they go into their NFL teams, facility, there's an assessment that's done. They look at these guys' bodies. How do we get better? What are you looking to do? So we wanted to take that same approach, but approach it to one-on-one personal training, especially in the beginning, because we didn't really have many athletes.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're setting up these assessments to basically make it as targeted and tailored of an approach for each person.
Yeah. So everyone has individual needs. We want to make sure, okay, what are those individual needs? How do we tap into what that person needs so how we can get them training at the next level that they want to get to?
Okay.
People want to get stronger. People want to get leaner. People want to lose weight. Everyone has a different goal. Everyone has a different, vision of what they want, especially when they're in their training. So we just try to tailor everything to them, what they like, what they need, what we know, what we know can help with what they don't already know. And then we kind of just go from there.
So who's usually coming to you, and at what point of their kind of fitness journey, or is it literally all over the place?
So we've gotten all over the place. We have people that are very, very serious about training. They come in, they've been to other facilities before, they have an expectation. They've already been at great facilities. So we want to just make it even better. So we're like, okay, this is what we do, how we do it. And so far, it's been great. And then we have our people that have never worked out before. They're coming in for the first time, or their friends referred them because, we train their friends and different things like that. And then they come in and then we make sure, all right, we got to tailor to this person. This person's never worked out before. They've never ran our system. So let's make sure that we tailor that system down for them. And then they gradually build up into what they can do now.
Yeah. Got it.
And it's been great. I think the system that we built there works. We're constantly making it better. With the physical therapy side, now everyone that comes into our facility will then get physical therapy done first. They'll see our DPT, which is cool. I got to open a facility with my little brother, and his office is there rolling. So he'll do that assessment. We'll do the physical assessment. We'll bring those together. Hey, this is what the client needs. This is how the client's going to get there. And then we go from there. We make them a custom program, and we're rolling.
Well, and it's really cool that you're building these kind of systems, because you just mentioned before, like, hey, I've got my own clients, like I'm locked and loaded, but I brought this new guy on, and I got to make sure I can feed him clients.
Of course.
And you get to the point where now you're at 4 trainers, right?
4 trainers, yep.
And you just
4 trainers, a physical therapist, and I just brought on another trainer this week.
And so now, all right, so what have these systems done to help you kind of make sure that when a new person comes on, that you can actually help them grow at the business?
So I kind of show them everything that we do in the beginning. They intern with us at first. I show them, okay, this is how we come in. The training is first. How are you as a trainer? So I don't care about anything that we do marketing-wise. I don't care anything that we do outside of that. I'm not worried about getting you new clients. My thing is, how good of a trainer are you? Okay. Then I take from what they have there, and they go, okay, they want to learn our style, learn what we do. So then I kind of show them how we train. This is how we train for this specific person. Watch this, tailor this. A lot of them get to come in the NFL offseason, so they see how important the training really is. So much is at stake with those guys. The training and everything is at such a high level all the time. Every attention to detail needs to be on point. Every program that we have, we never run through a full program and it's gone great. Everything, we got to scratch, make changes, adapt to what the body's telling us and what they're telling us. And so when you get to be a part of that and you see that, okay, these guys are training for the highest level, I'm assisting in them, I'm seeing what's going on. I'm also learning and writing programs myself. When a personal training client comes to you, now it's like, okay, I know the intensity, I know how it needs to get done, I've seen it at the highest level, now I can give this person the highest level of training, and boom, and they take off running with it.
Got it. Okay.
But we teach them the training first. The training is the most important thing. The marketing, everything else, running a business, that's important. But if you're, for us, we're a gym. If our training isn't good and the way that we approach our personal training and the way that we approach our physical therapy, if all that stuff isn't good, we're going to close. That's the number one thing, right? And I can't sit here and do a business podcast of how we've been doing stuff if my training at the end of the day is not where it needs to be, and I'm not constantly elevating and our trainers aren't constantly elevating.
Yeah. And so the trainers that work with you, they're actually getting to be part of these pro athlete training sessions where they'll watching
train them. No, well, I'll have them go randomly, I'll have them warm them up one day randomly.
Okay.
Or I'll have them one day randomly run some stuff. Sometimes they'll run a whole group by themselves, and I'll just let them go. Like, if you've trained with me for a while, because that's what happened to me. I was thrown to the wolves. Hey, you got to figure it out, you know? It's fight or flight at this point. You got all these professional athletes. This is what you wanted. This is how you wanted to train. You were gravitated towards our facility for this reason. Here you go. Like, now I'm going to give you the keys to it and say, okay, now drive it. So, and you know, once they can figure that out and they can train at that level, then I'm like, oh yeah, they're ready to go. So it's usually a 60 to 90 day process with our interns. Normally, I try to get them into a professional athlete setting so they can, learn from that. And then they can kind of see how we take that same approach to personal training. So the intensity's still high, everything's still high, but now we're tailoring towards different goals.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, and so, all right, I want to talk about where this is going from here. But like, what else is going on in the business now that we should talk about?
So it's a physical therapist. We just brought on, a golf trainer. He's TPI. He's going to be TPI certified. I think that's going to be a huge thing for us to get into. I've always, I've started golfing myself. I want to get into that and down the road be able to have, golfers come in and, we can get them an extra 25 yards and stuff like that. And we can fix how they swing and mobility and flexibility and certain things. And we're just growing. We got our NFL combine season that'll be coming up. We got our MLB off season that'll be coming up. We'll have a few guys that we had college that got drafted, so they'll be training with us. And then NFL season, and it just keeps rolling, man. And it's good. We got in a year there's a decision to make of where we're going to expand. Definitely going to expand. So we're starting working towards that already, and kind of what we're going to do and where we want to go, and figure out from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think that looks like? I guess that as part of this proof of concept that you've laid out.
I know what it can be. I have a vision. I've always had a vision of what it will be. I kind of, I don't like giving away all my secrets, but the facility that I'll have, it'll have a lot of things all in one. It'll be a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Like, for things that people don't even know that it's coming. Like, I'm gonna try to change a lot of things of how the fitness industry's, going. And I kind of see, use what we have as our training stuff, know what I have in marketing, know kind of what culture is going on, and where I kind of see it shifting, because that's kind of how I built CTP, like the epoxy floors, the neon light. I kind of follow, what's going on, or if I think something's cool, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to run it. Let's see what it looks like. I just know it's going to be good. I'm excited for what's to come. We'll definitely have nutrition in one shop. We'll have physical therapy in one shop. We'll have our training. We'll have an open gym. We'll have, our NFL stuff, which will be private still, and our MLB and stuff like that. And it'll be a cool place to hang out.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, so you built this whole business and you got this running, and do you ever talk to, like, I don't know, younger people or just people in general that want to start their own business or are kind of like thinking about it? And does anybody ever like pick your brain about that?
No, honestly, no, because I've never really. This is the first. I'm here, right? Like, yeah. I'm kind of just now starting to like get into this realm of just like kind of talking about that. Because I mean that's how I learned. So I just want to pass on what I've learned. I don't think I'm any expert by any means, and I'm still growing and stuff like that. But I definitely, if anybody ever wants to pick my brain about stuff, I'm always down to chop it up. I love chopping it up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, and dude, so on that front, so if you, like, what are some of the main things that you've learned so far by starting this business? Like, forget about like the past business you tried to run, but like getting this thing up and running to build it to where it's at now.
Yeah.
It's impressive, man. It's like, it's a feat, and it's not easy. And there's, I'm sure tons of times when you're just like, dude, I'm done with this. Like, I'm ready to just like give this up. But
there's definitely, I'm not ready to get,
not for real, but when you're sitting there, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon and like a deal falls through and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
But like, what are some of the main things that you've learned so far about running a business? Like, what's the most interesting?
Patience.
Why?
You have to have patience. I wanted to go so fast, like foot on the brake and not stop. And I kind of learned, the hard way of you got to enjoy the process. Like, I see the vision for what this is going to be, but I got to enjoy what we're doing now. And I kind of was just always like there's patience in a lot of stuff. Like when the gym was opening, it got delayed. I was losing it. Like, I was like, oh, this is delayed. I told it we're going to open, and now I can't. I got clients, and we had to be in a temporary. It's like, patience, dude. It's coming, right? Like, you've worked this hard. It's coming. And certain things with the gym, like, I've changed how it looks multiple times. We've had the physical therapy office. I changed a lot. It's just kind of enjoy what's going on and enjoy how fun it is right now. I'm going to get there. And that's kind of what I think I was always anxious to, if I'm going to get there, to now I shift to no, I'm getting there. Like, that's coming.
It's an issue of how now, how and when versus
it's just an issue of time. It's just an issue of time, right? Keep building what we have, keep stacking, years on top of it, and keep building it and make sure that it becomes this bulletproof system. And if I keep chugging along at that and I keep chipping away at it and I keep getting better as a trainer, our trainers get better as trainers, we keep having guys come through, have a ton of success. We have clients come through, they don't leave. They keep coming and they keep bringing. We're going to build this thing and it'll get us to that point.
Yeah.
So just patience has been the number one thing I would say that I've learned a lot of. It's never going to go how you think it's going to go. Never. So and I'm only 2 years in. I'm young and this business is young, So I still feel like, we haven't even sprouted yet. I feel like we're still growing underneath the ground and we're kind of just making sure everything's put together, but it's exciting. It's exciting at the same time.
Yeah, man. Well, how did you discover that mindset of wanting to?
No, I had to teach myself.
Okay, so it's something that you came upon.
It's something I came upon and learned. It just, you get into these stressful times and you're so stressed about what's going on in the gym and, it takes away at your health and different things like that. And it's like, whoa. Like I'm going to get there. Enjoy what's going on right now. Enjoy the successes of what you've been able to build. Don't be complacent, but enjoy it and keep stacking and keep going and making sure that you're having fun while you're doing it. Like, I feel like now I just go into work and I just have fun,
Yeah.
We're building something great. I'm not really stressed about, too much stuff going on in the gym. There's things in the back of my head that I always, things that'll come up, fires you have to put out and things like that. But it's like, okay, how do I just sit back, look at the situation now? How do I assess it, and what's the best step? Whereas before, I was like, okay, that's what I got to do. Okay, I'm doing it now. Okay, go, boom. It's like, relax, think about it, patience. It'll work itself out, and 99.99% of the time, it works itself out.
Yeah, as long as you're managing it and you keeping an eye on
it.
Yeah. So how did you develop that patience? Is it something that just kind of came over time with being so stressed out that you're like, I can't live like
a bunch
this,
of situations that have happened that kind of change how you think of stuff.
Okay.
So I've gone through a bunch of situations. In Tampa, I was broke. Credit score was terrible. Failed the first gym that I tried to open up. Kind of outgrew LA Fitness and was kind of bored. Then there's coming back and having to sell your car that you like and getting a car that I couldn't even stand looking at. Those situations kind of harden you a little bit and kind of humble you and bring you down to okay, you don't need to, you can think of other ways to do things. And then, when having the gym, situations have happened in our gym, things have already happened that we've gone through, and you guys kind of learn from all this stuff. And some things are important and some things you just let go. And just, that's how I've been doing it.
Yeah. I was listening to a guy, his name's Ray Dalio. He's a big investor kind of guy, but he writes all these books and he kind of categorizes it as things happening in the stock market and all this stuff as another one of those. If you look at history long enough, you can see these trends and cycles that happen. You go, oh, that's just another one of those. So when everyone is freaking out, in this case, it's more like, yeah, I've seen all this stuff. I've already dealt with that.
Yep.
And then situations come up and you're like, I've dealt with that. This is another one of those. Or it's 90% another one of those with a little bit of variation type.
And you just have to adapt. And I think I had to adapt my mindset.
Yeah.
My mindset had to adapt to new things that were going on and things that were going on in our gym. Okay, well, how do I adapt and take a different approach? And more of it was just patience and let some of the little things go and just enjoy the process and just be happy with what's going on and where you're going and how you're getting there. And, the main thing, just work.
Yeah.
It clears a lot of stuff, just put my head down and work. That's what I've always done. I've always worked my ass off. I've always been the hardest worker in the room. I'll never be outworked. I refuse to be outworked. I have that competitive thing that I want to be the best, and I want to be the best trainer. Like, I want to be considered one of the top trainers in the country. Like, if that's the case, then I just have to adapt my mindset in, okay, patience, everything, you put in the work. If you keep putting in the work, it will reward you at the end of the day. And so far it has.
Yeah. Do you learn that from the athletes you're working with too?
That's always been my mindset, man.
Yeah.
It's been my mindset from football, instilled at a young age of just like, that's what football did for me. Kind of just gave me, I'm not the tallest, I'm not the most athletic, but if I work my ass off, I'll be able to play a little bit and I'll be able to have, fun playing and stuff. And then I just always took that approach towards everything I did.
Nice.
Even at LA Fitness, I tried to be the best trainer at LA Fitness. When I was at the other facilities, I tried to be the best trainer I could possibly be. I tried to be the hardest working guy. Like, I'm that guy that's going to get there at 5 a.m. I'll be the first one in, last one out, trying to learn as much as I can, be a sponge to everybody, and just kind of go from there and just kind of learn and make sure I'm always elevating myself.
Dude, and it shows. It shows in your work, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, so before we wrap up, is there anything else that we should touch on?
I don't know, man. I think I'm really excited to what I've been able to do up to this point. I'm really excited about where we're going. I'm really excited at the gym and the quality of training that we have, especially too, like, not a lot of businesses can say that every time a person comes to the gym, we're pretty much signing them. Our retention rate sits in the high 90%. Comes a couple situations, some clients have had to leave, but if you rock with CTP, you stay with CTP. So our culture is different. That's what I like the most is our culture is just, and it's not just the athletes. They they bring it, and our personal training clients bring it. So the culture that we're building there and how we take our approach and our systems and everything like that, that's what I'm really proud of. When I walk into that gym every morning, like, I'm like, wow, we're building a great culture here. Like, we are different. We're not selling cheesy training. We're not selling, marketing things. We're not doing crazy videos to try to get people to come to our gym or do any of that stuff. We're showing the work that we're putting in. We're highlighting the work that we're putting in. And our clients are out there with the results that they have, telling people to come and train with us. And that's how you build a culture.
Yeah, man.
Everyone's focused. Like, when you come into our gym, it is focused. The music's bumping. The vibe is different. Like, as soon as you step into that gym, you're going to get a good workout today. So that's the mission, that's the goal, and that's what we're going to keep striving to do.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm glad to see that it's moving along. I've been, ever since Brennan got me connected with you, and I've been following your stuff and just getting to go see the place in person and meeting you and hearing more of the story. It's awesome. Like, you really did build something very cool. And,
I appreciate it. That was always the goal too. Man. I always had the vision of what it was going to look like. Kind of wanted it to look like me, like, that's kind of what it is. Like, it has my vibe to it, of who I am as a person. And then kind of just everyone else puts their touches in, kind of, and that's all of our trainers have a different vibe as well. So it fits really well.
Hell yeah.
It fits really well. And, Brennan's been, him and I have talked business for so long now. It's, I remember him training, selling shoes, at a young age at one of my sneaker shows. So it's cool to see where he's going and what he's doing. And, we bounce ideas off of each other all the time. And we kind of we both know what's going on in each other's business and where it's going. And we kind of have that trust to be able to build businesses together. And, where he's going, where I'm going, I really think Naples in the next, couple years is going to, him and I will definitely staple our names in Naples for sure.
Agreed.
For sure.
Agreed. Well, dude, thank you for coming and doing
appreciate
this,
it. Thank you, man. I appreciate being on here. This has been awesome.
Yeah, sweet.
Heck yeah, dude. Thank you.
Hell yeah. This episode is brought to you by Southwest Florida Podcast. If you're a business in Southwest Florida and you want to use a podcast to grow your business, scan the QR code on your screen or visit the link in the show notes at www.swflpodcast.com.